Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604, and today we are going to be looking at that beautiful machine at the center of your screen, the McLaren MP4. So this is the 1988 version of the Formula One car driven by Ayrton, Senna, and Alain Prost. So to say it was successful is an understatement. In 1988, it won 15 of the 16 races in the Formula One season, which is an absolutely incredible mark, and I don't believe that's ever been matched. So just pure domination with this car. So it was a high mark, and the VRC Modding Team who put this car together, and by the way, you're looking at version 1.3 here. The team that put this together absolutely nailed it. So we're going to take this out on the course. You're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 horsepower on this thing. It's a V6 1.5 liter 80 degree. 1.5 liter is funny because we've come almost to what, 30 years, and we're back to 1.5 liter V6s. So turbo was the name of the game here. Of course, there was no curves or anything like that, and this had a ton of power to the rear wheels, and as you can see, they were certainly into aerodynamics and downforce, but not as much as the modern F1 cars. So without further ado, let's take this guy out, and I'll just give you my feel of it. So we're going stock. I think these are medium tires. And by the way, I wanted to bring to your attention the sounds, the fantastic sounds this car makes. Sounds amazing, and even more so from the rear. I'm loving that. So without further ado, the 1988 McLaren MP4. And I'm going to dial the turbo all the way back, because as you can imagine, it's a whole lot of car. So ripping down the front straight here, we're hardly into, we're not even out of fourth gear. I'm just taking it easy, getting tires warm, get some heat in the brakes. I don't drive this car a lot. My favorite mod in all of all of Assetto Corsa at the moment is the ASR Formula MP4 6. And I think VRC, has done a wonderful job almost matching that with this MP4. As I said off the top, this car had a tremendous amount of success, so I think if you were a sort of a casual Formula One fan and looking for the most successful race car ever, you would probably look to the MP4. So a lot of pressure on the VRC team, and they crushed it. You can hear those sounds as it gets up to full rip. And again, we've still got the turbo dialed down. I'm starting to get some decent heat in those front tires, and the rears aren't too bad either. So I'm going to go ahead and dial that turbo up on the front straight here. 80% ought to do it, and we'll just give it some beans, as they say. Wonderful modeling of the cockpit. You can see how simple that wheel is compared to the 2017 edition. If you've been following Formula One this season, that wheel just seems to get more and more like a Game Boy every year. But this one is just a straight racing wheel. Boost and radio are the only visible buttons on this thing. And yeah, the Assetto Corsa version has cockpit adjustable, and you can see I'm locking up the front wheels like nobody's business. The Assetto Corsa version of this car does have cockpit adjustable brake balance, and that probably wouldn't be a bad idea in my case because I keep locking up the fronts, and in fact I've worn the fronts right out.
That lap's not going to count. The track cut has been detected.
high speed around this corner. And yeah, it handles like an F1 car oughta. You gotta be somewhat conservative with your throttle, especially with this much boost. And I'm gonna go 100% for a lap before I wrap this up. But yeah, so kind of closing thoughts. Do not hesitate. As I said, this is version 1.3 of this car, so it's in full release plus a few tweaks, and there's no reason not to buy it. It's fantastic. It has the raw power and handling ability that you've come to know and love from F1 cars in Assetto Corsa. But at the same time, it is a lot to drive. There's a few out there like the Ferrari 643, Ferrari 641, that kind of thing, MP4 as I mentioned, that would go nicely in an online race with this thing. So yeah, hit up VRC Modding Team and get on this. And make sure you dial your brake balance back, by the way. I've gone entirely stock on this thing and I can't help but lock up the front wheels. I'm barely giving it brakes and it's still locking up. But it's not VRC's fault, that's my fault for having a bad setup. And couldn't really ask for more from a mod, so please, as I said, please just run out and get this car.
The marshals are saying you cut the track.
It won't be hard to be better than me, so if you find me in an online race, please don't punish me too much. The McLaren MP4 by VRC Modding Team, highly recommended. I score this a 10 out of 10 without hesitation. Whole lot of fun, and looks beautiful, sounds amazing. Physics are tremendous. So this has been Mike for Sim Racing 604, and thank you so much for watching. If you agree or disagree with what I've said here, please leave a comment or a like, and please hit subscribe. I'm going to keep reviewing these cars that you got to pay for, and I'll tell you which ones are worth it, which ones are not. This one definitely is. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.